The Book of Lamentations is a collection of 5 poetic laments written by an unknown author, traditionally believed to be the prophet Jeremiah, following the destruction of Jerusalem in 586 BC. The book is a reflection on the consequences of disobedience and the devastation caused by the fall of a once powerful and prosperous city. It is a powerful and emotional depiction of the suffering and grief of the people of Judah. The first lament begins with the author crying out in despair, overwhelmed by the ruins of Jerusalem. The city, once filled with people and joy, is now desolate and destroyed. The author mourns that the Lord, who was once their protector, has allowed their enemies to destroy their city and temple. The people of Judah are portrayed as alone and abandoned, with no one to comfort or help them. The author acknowledges that this destruction is a result of their own sins and rebellion against God. The second lament is a lament of despair and deep sorrow. The author describes the suffering of the people of Judah, symbolized as a widow and a slave who have lost their homes, loved ones, and their freedom. The author cries out to God, questioning why he has allowed such suffering to befall his people. The people of Jerusalem are portrayed as desperate and hopeless, with no end to their suffering in sight. The third lament is a confession and a plea for mercy. The author acknowledges the justice and righteousness of God's judgment, but also begs for his mercy. The people of Judah are portrayed as humbled and repentant, willing to accept whatever punishment God deems fit. The author cries out to God, asking him to remember their misery and to see their enemies at triumphs, hoping that God will soon bring an end to their suffering. The fourth lament is a reflection on the destruction of Jerusalem and the suffering of the people. The author recalls the siege, starvation, and the atrocities committed by the Babylonians. Even the previously sacred places, such as the temple, have been desecrated and destroyed. The author also reflects on the biblical prophecies of Jerusalem at its destruction and the fulfillment of those prophecies. Despite all the suffering, the author remains steadfast in their faith and acknowledges that the consequences of their sins were just. The final lament is a plea for restoration and a reminder of God's faithfulness. The author reflects on the former glory of Jerusalem and prays for its restoration. The people of Judah are portrayed as clinging to their hope in God despite the devastation around them. The author reminds God of his covenant and his faithfulness and pleads for him to restore Jerusalem and his people. The book ends with a note of confidence and trust in God's ultimate deliverance. Overall, the Book of Lamentations is a powerful and emotional portrayal of the consequences of disobedience and the devastating effects of God's judgment. The author mourns the destruction of Jerusalem and the suffering of the people of Judah, but also acknowledges their own responsibility in bringing about this judgment. Through the emotional and heart-wrenching laments, the book emphasizes the importance of remaining faithful to God and the consequences of straying from his ways. Yet, amidst all the despair and suffering, there is a glimmer of hope and trust in God's ultimate mercy and restoration.